Hey guys, and today I'm going to teach you calorimetry. Now, calorimetry refers to the study of the measure of heat. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you about specific heat capacity and heat capacity. First, specific heat capacity. Specific heat capacity is the amount of heat required to change the temperature of a unit mass, meaning 1 kilogram, by 1 Kelvin or 1 degrees Celsius. The equation is Q equals to mc, change in temperature, where Q is the amount of heat, M is the mass, C is the specific heat capacity, and change in temperature is change in temperature. This equation can also be rearranged to make specific heat capacity the subject of the formula. This leaves us with specific heat capacity equals to amount of heat energy divided by mass times change in temperature. Now, let's move on to heat capacity. Heat capacity refers to the quantity of heat required to raise the temperature of a body by 1 Kelvin or 1 degree Celsius. Now, I hope you realize the difference between specific heat capacity and heat capacity. Specific heat capacity involves mass, but heat capacity has no mass in the formula or the definition. And the formula for heat capacity equals to amount of heat energy divided by change in temperature. Now, there are two main factors that affect heat capacity. The first one is a mass of substance, and the second one is specific heat capacity. Now, the reason why this is the case is because another formula for heat capacity is mass times specific heat capacity. Don't forget this, just in case you'll need it. Now, let's look at an example. Water of mass 3 kilograms is heated from 26 degrees Celsius to 96 degrees Celsius. Find the amount of heat supplied to the water. The specific heat of water is 4,200 joules per kilogram degrees Celsius. Now, the first thing we need to do is collect our data and see what we have. So as you can see, we have the mass, which is 3 kilograms, the change in temperature, which is 96 degrees minus 26 degrees, meaning it is 70 degrees. And the specific heat capacity of water is 4,200 joules per kilograms degrees Celsius. So what we are lacking is actually the amount of heat. And if you remember the formula, amount of heat equals to mass times specific heat capacity times change in temperature. So in this case, amount of heat energy equals to 3 times 4,200 times 70, which equals to 882,000 joules. If you still think this is confusing, let's look at another example. Number 2. A metal block of 26 grams absorbs 800 joules of heat. If the initial temperature of the body is 30 degrees Celsius, find the final temperature when the specific heat capacity of the metal is 520 joules per kilogram degrees Celsius. Like I said before, you have to collect your data and see what you have first. So the amount of heat energy is 800 joules. The initial temperature is 30 joules. The specific heat capacity is 520 joules per kilogram degrees Celsius. We don't have the final temperature. This is what we're looking for. But as you can see, we have our mass, which when converted is 0.026 kilograms. So from the formula Q equals to mc change in temperature, all we have to do is make change in temperature the subject. And we do this by dividing both sides by everything that is not change in temperature. Meaning divide both sides by 0.026 times 520. And after doing this, we get change in temperature as 59.2. And after doing this, all we have to do is add the change in temperature to the initial temperature to find the final temperature, which means 59.2 degrees Celsius plus 30 degrees Celsius, which equals to 89.2 degrees Celsius. Now let's look at an example involving heat capacity. An object absorbs 2.3 kilojoules, which is 2,300 joules, of heat, raising its temperature from 20 degrees Celsius to 45 degrees Celsius. Find its heat capacity. So again, first collect your data and see what you have. So we have the amount of heat energy, which is 2,300 joules. And we have change in temperature, which is 45 degrees minus 20 degrees, which equals to 25 degrees Celsius. And our heat capacity equals to amount of heat energy divided by change in temperature, which equals to 2,300 joules divided by 25, which equals to 92 joules per degrees Celsius. And like that, I hope this lesson was instructive. Thank you.